Do you know the most common crime in America? It's identity theft, and it happens to 1 in 20 Americans. Don't be surprised if this happens to you. You log into your email account only to see the password was changed hours ago. Then you start getting notifications from your bank. That's when the panic sets in. And that's why I'm excited to partner with our new show sponsor, Aura. Aura offers identity theft protection and insurance, fraud monitoring, a VPN, password management, and antivirus software all in one easy-to-use application. They monitor the dark web for your emails, passwords, and social security numbers so you can get notified of any changes 4 times faster than Aura's competitor. Their VPN keeps your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted, and their antivirus software blocks malware and viruses before they infect your devices. And all plans come with $1 million of identity theft insurance. Try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if your information has snuck into the dark web. Go to Aura, AURA.com/Chael, or just click on the link below. Coach Javier Mendez, one of the true great coaches in this sport. Coach Mendez was talking about his pupil, that's Islam, upcoming match with Bobby Green. Coach Mendez said he doesn't believe this is a number 1 contenders match. He believes it should be, but in actuality, what will happen is Conor McGregor will get the next title shot. Coach Mendez then said this is entertainment first and sport second. I don't take coaches on, and I would never take on Coach Mendez. I think he's in a different category, but I do want to touch on this topic. So I'm not going to take on Coach Mendez. I'm going to take on the idea. The idea is not true. First off, yes, it's entertainment first, it's sports second. You never say that, ever. If you're one of the smart guys in the room that has figured that out, the next thing you need to figure out is that you protect the industry at all times. You never turn and you never expose your own industry. Now, this is real simple. Is Conor more popular than Islam? Sure he is. But you want to know what else Conor is? He's got not 1, not 2, he's got 3 belts. Islam's never fought for a belt and has none. So before you act as though it's just popular, people like to call Conor champ. They forget he won 3. I was there the night he beat Chad Mendez and got his first belt. It was called the interim. But then he got a 45-pound title and a 55-pound title. It can stop right there. At some point, what you did yesterday does matter. You don't want to be in the habit of resting on your laurels, but if you're coming in arguing resumes, you don't want to go to head-to-head with McGregor. So rule 1, protect the industry. That should not have been said. Rule number 2, because it is accurate, it's much better for Islam to go next than Conor. The number 1 fight that our industry has tried to make is Khabib versus McGregor. Our industry, all of you, everybody, made one mistake in 2020, and it's that we only fought McGregor once. McGregor comes out on January 19th into Las Vegas for an event that was not scheduled. They put the whole thing together just for him. He sells the thing entirely out and fights Cowboy Cerrone. McGregor only had one wish, and that was to fight 4 times this year. Now, if you have a willing Conor McGregor, we should have used him. But the plan was to re-get Conor and Khabib together to the point that we never used Conor. And Conor had to sit, and it's why he did not look good against Dustin Poirier. He'd been out for too long. It was a mistake. Let's just admit it. We made a mistake. Now, we can't get Khabib and Conor back in there together, so what is the absolute next best thing? You get Conor in there with Islam, Khabib's pupil. Khabib's still at the press conference. Khabib's still at the weigh-in. Khabib's still at the octagon. It's a much bigger and better storyline, but it doesn't go in opposite direction. You can't send Conor in there to get the belt and then take on Islam. You have to send in Islam first because he's the one that can get the belt and then take on Conor. So I'm just taking on that idea. He never should have exposed the industry, for 1. But 2, it doesn't make what he said untrue. It just makes the level of creativeness untrue. And if you're playing checkers, it could go to Conor next. But you're not playing checkers, you're playing chess. You're looking at several steps ahead. And the much bigger fight than any of those fights is to get Islam in there against McGregor for the championship. I bring up a very good point. I bring up a very good point, because when you're doing matchmaking and you're only thinking about tomorrow, it does bring you back to Islam versus Bobby. And if the coach is telling his disciple, who's only got one thing to gain by this fight, which is a number one contendership, if the coach is telling you it's not going to get you that contendership, do you see the problem? Now, Coach Mendes is going to see this, and Coach Mendes is going to call me or see me at some point and say, no, Chael, I was playing chess. I was playing psychological chess. I'm calling something out in one direction because I really wanted to go in the other. Possibly it could have been that. But you're still dealing with a pupil who struggles with the language barrier to start with, and you're telling the world around him that this win is for fun? For nothing? It's one of those tough spots. And Islam only has one problem. Islam doesn't have an opponent. Ever. Islam didn't have an opponent when he had Benny Darush. All of us go, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I want to see that. Islam doesn't have an opponent when he has Bobby Green. We go, whoa, that's a tough replacement. Okay, I want to see that. Islam did not have an opponent when he was trying to intercept Justin Gaethje on his way to a world title fight because Poirier and Oliveira hadn't even fought yet. It's the same car, and Islam keeps driving into the same wall over and over. He doesn't have an opponent. To have a championship, to have a main event, man, those are good things. He's striving. He's moving in the right direction. He's getting closer, right? He's got a hold of the right tool, but he's got it by the wrong end. If Islam wants a mega fight, he needs to find himself an opponent. If he wants a mega fight and he wants to be a world champion, he needs to make the opponent out of the world champion. But if you try to do it in the other order, you're going to blow in the wind. And as much as I'm telling you the better storyline is to get the belt around Islam, then bring McGregor in, I'm right. And if you knew how those pieces were going to play out, that's the gamble you'd make. But you don't know how those pieces are going to play out. And so you might just stick McGregor in there. This is a very real concern that they should have. But moreover, the fact that Islam wants a belt as opposed to a specific person is a problem. It's Islam's problem. In 10 days, you are going to see the biggest fight of the year. In 10 days, you are going to see the most watched fight in the last 3 years. I'm taking McGregor fights out of it. Those are anomalies. It's like when Lesnar fought. It did so well, you got to set it aside. But there's no belt on the line. Nobody tunes in to watch you to pursue a goal, to pursue a dream. That's amateur sport. That's what the Olympics do every 4 years. That's what the NCAA does once a year. A boy with a childhood dream trying to pursue it. That story's relatable. It's not bad. It's not main event on pay-per-view worthy. And if you are to look at anything that you're learning from Masvidal and Covington, it's that nothing draws and works and sells like an actual grudge. Nothing. Generally, a pay-per-view will have a belt. Generally. But I can tell you in the last couple of years, the biggest fights on pay-per-view did not. Now, the biggest fight in the last 2 years was the same fight. It was Conor Poirier 2, outdone by Conor Poirier 3. I get it. Again, McGregor the anomaly. But these things only work. Covington versus Masvidal going to beat every record that doesn't involve McGregor. I doubt it'll be caught this year. It shouldn't be the number one. It should be the number 2. Surreal and Francis sailed it in. But you see why it works. Because Colby called a person. He didn't call a title. He didn't call a placement, meaning main event. He called a person. George Masvidal did not call for a title. He did not call for a placement known as main event. He called a person. So if you want these worlds to come together, if you want to get fast-tracked, if you're saying that I understand this is entertainment first and sports second, then you would think that you would have covered the entertainment side of it, which you have not. So allow the great genius in the room to hand you yet one more. If you need the belt and you need to get the opportunity, which is the bureaucracy and the politics of the office, make sure that whoever has the belt is the person that your athlete calls out.